Hello, this is Brave Sir Robin, coming to you from Parts Unknown. About a year ago, I reviewed Pro Wrestling Superstars, the Freshman Phenom, and I mentioned how this was the first and only show these guys have done. Well, about a year and a half later, they've done another show as part of Wrestlereunion. So let's check this out and see how it compares to the first show that they did. First segment of the show is an interview segment where Mick Foley comes out accompanied by Iron Mike Tyson. And Foley mentions how that he's guest referee in a match later between the New Age Outlaws and the Steiner brothers, but the Steiners don't like him, so that's why he has Mike Tyson as his backup, because he doesn't want to end up beat up because he's in the Royal Rumble, which is the next day after this. This was taped the day before the Royal Rumble of this past year, so he wants Mike Tyson watching his back. It's strange to think, though, of the two involved in this segment, that it would be Mike Tyson who's the first one to be inducted into WWE's Hall of Fame and not Mick Foley. But I don't know, I don't make those decisions. Hopefully this will be Foley's year. So for the first official match of the card, they bring out these two guys that no one really knows. Eric Royal and Adam Page are their names. They do wrestle decently for what little time they do have. They get in a few high spots, but they're soon interrupted when Vader's WWE music starts playing, and Big Van Vader slowly makes his way to the ring. The two stand in the ring dumbfounded as Vader eventually gets into the ring, but it seems that the two are going to face Vader together, but then Eric gives Page the whole shove and tosses him into Vader, who then just flattens him. Then Eric tries to take on Vader by himself, and he just gets flattened himself. You would expect Vader to just destroy these two guys, but for some reason they're given some offense against Vader, and even start to work together again, which makes Adam Page look like an idiot, considering that Royal had already double-crossed him and caused him to get beat on already. But I don't know. I'd say this went on for a bit too long, though, as the crowd clearly just wanted to see Vader destroy the two, but I guess they had to get their shit in, I guess. Page then eats a Vader bomb and then takes a power bomb from Vader, and Royal takes a choke slam, and the match is ruled a no contest. I like Vader, but clearly his best days are behind him. So now we have some tag team action, as we have the Steiner brothers versus the New Age Outlaws. That's right, they are announced as the New Age Outlaws and not the James Gang or the VKM, which is probably for the best, but it does say BG James and Kip James on the DVD packaging, though on the actual disc they are referred to as the Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, which is probably for the better anyway as well. The Steiners, they come out to the ring to their old WCW theme, you know, Steinerized. That was awesome, I was glad to see that. And before the match, Road Dogg even does his bit, his Michael Buffer bit, and then they tease that Billy Gunn doesn't remember his catchphrases anymore because of how it's been so long since they used them. It's not much of a match, though. It's not very good. They do a lot of comedy, which is a real shame, because in the 90s, early 2000s, this almost would have been a dream match. But I guess with age and injuries, we got what we got. At one point, the Road Dogg ends up bailing to the outside after Rick Steiner bites him in the backside and proclaims that no one puts their tongue in his ass, and that's where he draws the line. But then Mick Foley, the referee, announces that tongues in the ass are legal in this match. So how about that? The match breaks down even more. Scott almost gets a near fall on Billy, and Mick counts when Billy kicks out, which pisses off Scott, who then shoves Mick into the corner a couple times. Then when Scott's back is turned, Mick starts doing the bit where he's getting ready to pull the sock out. Then Scott quickly turns around, and Mick Foley jumps and tosses Socko to the outside. And Rick Steiner and Road Dogg fight over Socko on the outside while Billy Gunn hits the Faymaster, and Mick Foley counts a fast 3 count to give the New Age Outlaws the win. I don't know why they did it that way. It was a lot of silliness, but I guess with everyone involved in the match, they were just having a good time, just messing around, so it was whatever it is. So now we have a World of Sport match, which is the British rules with no punches and with the round system in between too, featuring Colt Cabana and Fit Finlay. Colt Cabana tries his usual goofing around, but Finlay will have none of it, but Colt Cabana can deliver a good match when needed, of course. In a bit of goofiness, Colt tries to order his corner man, which is just some fan who won an auction and gets to stay in Colt Cabana's corner, to slap Fit Finlay while he's on the outside, and luckily this guy knew better, which leads to the crowd chanting, "You pussed out" at him, which Marty DeRosa on commentary dares anyone in the crowd to slap Fit Finlay themselves. I wouldn't recommend that, that's for damn sure. It's a good technical match, though, where Finlay works on Colt Cabana's arm and shoulder a lot, which leads to the third and final round, where Finlay attacks Colt Cabana between the rounds and aggressively punishes him until he gets the win after the Celtic Cross. They kept Cabana's goofiness to a minimum and delivered a very good match. It was a good, solid, technical wrestling match, which is a rare thing to see in this day and age and was very appreciated. So now for some more tag team action, as we have 704, Caleb Conley and Cedric Alexander, two veterans from the previous PWS show that I reviewed, versus the unholy alliance of Mikey Whipwreck and Tajiri. I don't remember them being named that in ECW, but I could be wrong. No Sinister Minister with them, sadly, though I would have liked to have seen that. Now, Tajiri, he looks pretty much the same as he always did. I know he's remained active in Japan with Smash or whatever else he's involved with now that Smash has gone defunct, but man, Mikey Whipwreck looks old as hell now. I know ECW wasn't really yesterday. If you want any more proof that ECW is dead, look at the near 40-year-old Mikey Whipwreck, bald, kind of overweight, but still wearing his indie-rific dragon shirt and track pants. Just visualize that, and then might kind of ruin the memories a little bit. Though him and Tajiri, they still have very good chemistry together, and even though I'm ragged on him a bit, Mikey does move pretty well in the ring and pulls out some cool moves, even though he probably is a bit rusty. The veterans do win after a green mist from Tajiri onto Caleb, and that followed by a whippersnapper off the top rope. Not a bad match by any means. Despite my ragging on him, Mikey still wrestled well, and Tajiri was as good as he always is. It was a good reunion for Mikey and Tajiri, so it was just good to see. So now we have some Mexican mini action with Dimas 316, that's all caps by the way, versus Mascarita Dorada. It's a really fast-paced match, and you really need to check out this match just to see Dorada in action. The guy's really impressive. Dimas shows a lot of power too, manhandling the much smaller Dorada at times. I'm not really familiar with the greats of current Mexican wrestling scene, let alone with the minis, but these two do seem like they have amazing chemistry together and deliver a really entertaining, fast-paced match, which Dorada wins after a very quick deja vu into a roll-up. It was really cool to see. I really can't say much more about it, but it was a good match, and I do recommend checking this one out for sure. So now we go from some fast-paced mini action to an LA street fight where we have Tommy Dreamer versus Mr. Wrestling Kevin Steen. So we go from the fast-paced match we just saw before to what's basically just a brawl, but that's okay. Dreamer's known for his brawling, and Steen is quite capable of it as well, though he's a good wrestler at the same time as well. They start in the ring and of course end up brawling through the arena and back to the ring again. And Tommy Dreamer comes out with his trash can bin full of plunder, and we get all the usual hardcore moments. Both guys do take a lot of punishment too, and sure, Tommy Dreamer is past his prime, but he can still deliver when allowed to with the right opponent, and Steen is one of the best on the indies right now. So it was a bit strange midway through to watch as Marty suddenly takes exception to this hardcore match and starts acting outraged at the violence. I'm guessing some director said something into his headset, but it just comes out of nowhere and seems out of place, and he stops shortly after too, so I don't know why they did that for so quickly like that. Seeing Steen is a star on the rise, Tommy Dreamer does what he's good at and puts the young up-and-comer over after Steen counters a DDT attempt to plant Dreamer onto a steel guardrail and then nails a swanton bomb on him for the pin. And after the match, Steen gets on the mic and starts to praise up Dreamer. Before he can finish what he was doing and paying his respects, he is attacked by Raven, who then lays out Dreamer with the even flow DDT, much to the delight of the crowd. I wonder if Raven will be made to pay for this later. So now we have Roderick Strong versus the Man Scout Jake Manning. Sweet, another Pro Wrestling Superstars alumni. Though Jake Manning does seem to appear in a lot of the shows that are hosted by High Spots anyway. I guess he works for them or something. No short shorts this time, luckily. The Man Scout is wrestling in a green singlet with the Boy Scouts hand logo printed on them. I don't know much about that. I wasn't a Boy Scout. I was a Cub Scout, actually. Roderick is one of the top guys on the indie scene though, so I think Manning seemed really out of his place wrestling against him. It wasn't a squash or anything by any means, but at no point did I really think Manning had a chance to win, though he is made to look good by being able to keep up with Roderick, the superior wrestler though. Roderick wins with a sick kick to the face. And the next match is Davey Richards versus Harry Smith. So that's right, we have the son of Davey Boy Smith versus the Dynamite Kid knockoff himself. Okay, that wasn't nice. These two are good wrestlers. It is another good technical match. A lot of hard hitting, even more than Finlay and Cabana was earlier. And a lot more harder strikes and a lot more submissions and all that. They go back and forth a lot with the strikes and submissions. And at one point, Davey has Harry in a sharpshooter. And Excalibur calls it a Scorpion Deathlock. And Marty DeRosa points out that you can't call it a Scorpion Deathlock in a match involving one of the Hart family. Come on now. The match could have went either way. And for the ending, it seems a lot like Harry had Davey rolled up, much like how his dad beat Bret Hart at Wembley Stadium for SummerSlam, but Davey rolls out of it and then rolls up Harry himself to get the win, and which was pretty good. It was a good technical match, and Davey's a top guy in the indies, so it made sense for him to go over anyway. The two get on the mic after and praise each other, and Harry says that he loves hearing the fans chant his name better than he likes listening to Michael Cole every Monday night. No argument here. Not much more I can really add to this, but so this match is really worth checking out, even though it is kind of funny to see the I don't know how tall Harry Smith is in real life, but he really dwarfs Davey. So it's either Davey's really short or Harry's really tall, one or the other. So now we have some tag team action as we have the Young Bucks entering to the ring to Hansen versus the team of El Generico and the Japanese lightweight legend, the Great Sasuke. For this match, Generico is wearing a sweet version of his mask that is half his own and half is the Great Sasuke's mask. I like a copy of that, and it looks pretty damn good too. It's another very good match, and Generico and Sasuke work very well together, considering they have likely never teamed before. Generico does do the majority of the work in the match, but when Sasuke is in the ring, it is quite excellent. It's a really good tag match, and Generico and Sasuke win after Generico hits his top rope brainbuster onto one of the Young Bucks. I forget which one. Not much really more I can add about without just recapping the match, which I don't care for doing, but it was very good. I do highly recommend checking out this one match, even just for the novelty of seeing Generico and Great Sasuke together. So now for the main event of the show, we have the Wrestle Royal, which is basically a Royal Rumble style battle royal involving the legends that are in attendance. The battle royals, like I mentioned before, they're tough for me to review, and they always take up all my tags on YouTube, which I don't like as well. But I'll mention the highlights and who's in the match, but I'm not naming every elimination in that because a lot of them happen off screen and you don't even see them anyway, which I don't like. So the first entrant of the Battle Royal is none other than the legendary Matt Classic. And number 2 being none other than the genius Lenny Poffo, who gets a huge reaction from the crowd. Sadly though, no poem on a frisbee, what the hell's that? It was awesome to see these two wrestling together though, and Lenny even busts out his moonsault, you know, where he walks up the rope and does it. It was really cool, and he still got it obviously. It was really nice to see for the little time that these two had together. Then they're followed to the ring by Rock Riddle, who makes his way to the ring even slower than Vader did earlier, to the point that before he even gets into the ring and starts wrestling, the next entrant, which was Carlos Colon, comes out and enters the ring before Riddle does. And then there's Gangrel, followed by Jesse Hernandez, Mondo Guerrero, Kevin Sullivan, and Pilato Suicida, who I'm not familiar with. I'm really not up on my Mexican scene. Tommy Dreamer re-enters. I guess he's doing double duty for the night. And after him is TNA's Robbie E., even wearing the TNA TV title belt. And Robbie E. announces himself as the youngest legend, but Dreamer quickly takes care of him and eliminates him. And next up after him, there's Virgil, who enters to Ted DiBiase's theme, which excited the crowd when they heard that, but then got really deflated when they just thought it was Virgil. And after that, there's Greg Valentine and Conan. Excalibur brings up how Conan was part of the NWO Red and Black, while Virgil was part of the NWO White. There was no need to bring that up. We don't need to remember that feud. Then there's Dan Severn. Then there's Jimmy Hart. And then the Godfather enters with his Ho Train, which is Amber O'Neal, Becky Bayless, Shelly Martinez, and Angel Orsini. They're the Ho Train for the night. And while he comes out, Gangrel eliminates himself so he can go outside and dance with the hose. Something to be said there. Then out next comes Brutus Beefcake. Then Excalibur brings up about him being the Zodiac and the Dungeon of Doom when him and Kevin Sullivan are fighting each other. Again, was that needed? Nobody wants to think about the Dungeon of Doom. Then some kid comes out named Billy Ray Shrek. The story here on commentary is that apparently the kid won an auction that allowed him to enter the Battle Royal. Really? A fan won an auction to take part of a battle royal that is filled with trained legendary wrestlers. Maybe the guy has had some wrestling training, but really this just seems like a lawsuit waiting to happen. It goes as well as expected too, as Bruce Beefcake puts him in the sleeper and then cuts his hair mid-match before the guy's eliminated. Okay. So then out comes the final entrant, Raven, and Dreamer waits for him, and Raven tries to stall in the aisle and not enter, but Kevin Steen walks up behind him and pays him back for earlier, and then allows Dreamer to get his hands on him and eliminate him quickly. So I guess Raven does get his comeuppance. So the final 4 in the match, Dreamer eliminates himself, by the way, while eliminating Raven. The final 4 are Dan Severn, Brutus Beefcake, The Godfather, and Greg Valentine. But Severn is distracted by guest referee Ken Shamrock and gets eliminated by Valentine. And then for revenge, Severn pulls Valentine out of the ring to eliminate him. So now we're down to the last 2, The Godfather and Brutus Beefcake. And Godfather ducks a clothesline and eliminates Beefcake to win the whole thing. And then ends the show by doing his Pimpin' 80s bit with his hose on right around the ring dancing. So why was this the main event? So there's my review of Pro Wrestling Superstars, the Wrestlereunion in LA. It's a really good show, a vast improvement over the previous show that they did. I really do recommend checking this out, questionable Battle Royal aside for the main event, but all the same, it was still very good. I do recommend Generico and Sasuke versus the Young Bucks, Dorada versus Demas was very good. Davey Richards versus Harry Smith was very good. Even Fit Finley versus Colt Cabana was very good. So I do recommend checking this out. It's cheap enough to get. You can get it on High Spots for a decent enough price, I'm sure. And make sure you check out my previous review where I reviewed Pro Wrestling Superstars and all my other videos. I would greatly appreciate that. And if you liked what you saw, and make sure you can follow me on Facebook and also on my Twitter, which I provide links below. And make sure you leave a comment and subscribe if you also liked it. So until next time, this is Brave Sir Robin signing off. Hopefully I should be back with some more DVD reviews later, maybe some more news, and maybe some other random thoughts as well. So see you then. Bye.